Okay, this is part 3 of the adjusting arm video. This video, if you notice, I've got a few lines in here already ahead of time. I just wanted to put those in so I'm not taking the whole time drawing. But we need to add a couple more horizontal lines here. We're also gonna, these are all center lines, which we've talked about in class. I'm gonna put the last center line in across the middle, one down at the bottom here, heavy in these last 2 lines. Then we're gonna come in heavy in our angled lines, inclined lines, heavy in our arcs and circles, same steps as we did before, then heavy in our connecting straight lines. I should be done at that point. Now, remember, our center lines are used to show the axis of symmetry, right? I recommend using a very sharp 6H for you guys to get the correct line weight. Should be thin and black. There should be a cross right at the center of each arc or circle showing the center point. So it's a longer line, small gap, short line, small gap, longer line, small gap, short line, small gap, longer line, short gap, small line, short gap, longer line, just repeats. If you're super concerned about it, the length of the long line should be between 3/4 of an inch and 1.5 inches. The small gap should be at about 1/16 of an inch. The small line should be 1/8 of an inch. Small gap should be 1/16 of an inch. Long line, once again, 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches. Now, you just space it out by eye. I'm not ever going to measure it. Your small gaps, if you just want to think about them as small visible gaps, that's fine. Your dash should be about the size of both gaps combined. So, going across here. Don't forget to rotate the pencil. Try and get these lines all consistent. So I'm going to do a long line to start, a short gap. I'm going to do a little bit longer line than normal just to get to this first arc. Short dash. Once again, another small gap. Repeat it to the next one. All the way across to the last one. And then if you notice, your center line should extend about 1/4 inch outside of the object that it's a center line for, okay? This one could actually be a little shorter inside here, but that's fine as well. Come down to the bottom one, make this a center line just to finish it on the center lines. Now I'm going to switch over to my 2H, do my last 2 horizontal lines and my inclines. I got a vertical here that I forgot about. Should have done that beforehand, but no worries. When you do that top object line, make sure you take the time to check it. You want to have a small gap between the center line and the object line. They shouldn't run into each other. Should still be clean and consistent though. And come back in here real quick, put these verticals in that I forgot about. Once again, another small gap between the center line and the actual object. Turn this thing now, get my 45s, and then all we got to do is heavy in our arcs and connecting straight lines. So there's all that. Next I'm going to do my arcs just like I did on the construction one, so I'm just going to heavy it in. Then the last thing is to do the connecting straight lines. So if you're careful, you can use the drawing and reset your compass to the sizes that you used. If you don't like that, you're worried about going over it and getting a double line or not being accurate and on top of it, you can always use your scrap paper and just reset it to the size that you had there. The difference when I heavy this in, instead of grabbing it by the top thumb screw between my thumb and index finger, I grab it down a little bit more just so I can put a little bit more weight onto it and get a nice heavy object or visible line for my arcs and circles. Okay, you may have to go over it once or twice. If the lead doesn't seem to be cooperating, it could be because somebody switched the lead on you and you're on to a softer lead, or I mean a harder lead. If that's the case, let me know and we can get you switched up. So once again, I'm going to do this back one because it's a little bit big. Going to do this back one again right off the bat just so it's the same size. Okay, take the time, make sure you try and stop and start right at those vertical center lines. If you move out of the center point, just put it back in. Okay, there's those two. Come in here, do the rest of them real quick, hopefully. Second to last one here. Last one, the full circle. This is a little bit of a pain. You might have to go over parts of it and do kind of like a quarter and then a quarter. At that point, last thing to do is once again break out my 2H, connecting straight lines just over top of them, make them visible lines, heavy it in just a little bit, and then all you got to do is letter it. Your drawing is done. So I'll try and get this done real quick here for you guys to see the finished product. And the last one down at the bottom. And then at that point, your drawing is done other than lettering it. So good luck with this one.